So let's have a look at Rupert Lowe, MP, on X. As you can see, I've reposted quite a few things from him. If you're on X, come and give me a follow as well, please. Be appreciated. Felix D. Vids. Rupert Lowe, MP. I don't think farmers should have to pay inheritance tax. I don't think family businesses should have to pay inheritance tax. I don't think anyone should have to pay inheritance tax. Stealing already taxed money from the dead, no more inheritance tax. So yeah, stealing already taxed money because people pay tax on the money they earn, then they pay tax on the money they spend, then they pay tax on the land they own and the assets they own, they pay tax on the fuel that they use, and then you die and you get taxed more. And your parent or sibling or whatever dies, and then you're going to have to pay more tax on that business or that land they're trying to leave you. They're trying to give you something, a bit of a head start in life. And when you've just lost someone, the government just want to kick you in the teeth and make you want to pay some more. So no more inheritance tax, and that goes for everything, really, doesn't it? We shouldn't. No one should be paying inheritance tax. It's disgusting. Um, this one was actually a reply to UK Home Office where they're just saying, yeah, we're gonna change the settings and we're gonna let people in that are really good for this country because multiculturalism again. Or Rupert Lowe said, alternatively, we could abolish the entire asylum system and deport the third world chancers who have broken into our country. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Let's just get rid of everyone. I know which opinion is more popular with the British people. Well, we all do, don't we? There's only the champagne socialists of the Labour Party that think it's not popular. And I don't know, it's just disgusting. So yeah, Rupert Lowe MP, Restore Britain. I'm pretty sure a lot of people already be following him. Rupert Lowe getting into the festive spirit. He's got his Christmas hat on as he deports people on the plane. That would be the ideal Christmas, wouldn't it? But no, it's not happening. Lots of politicians desperate to take sole credit for this Labour farming U-turn. Conservatives deserve credit, as do Reform and Lib Dems on this. Even Labour MPs who push from the inner side. Okay, yeah. I mean, Lib Dems, who are they? They've got nothing anyway, have they? Um, Labour MPs, there was one MP that actually stood up and said this was wrong from the start. The rest are being pushed by the fact they're going to lose their seats this next general election because none of the rural farmers or the farming community or the community associated with that, associated with farming or like building barns or concreting. A lot of concreters go out to farms concreting. What else we see happening on farms? Electricians, plumbers, everyone that does work for these farms. In a knock-on effect, you've got the dealerships that are selling tractors, the manufacturers. Yeah, JCB quite famously now have donated to the Reform Party. So yeah, most important, farmers. Not having everything has to be about party politics. It is boring. I've seen quite a few people recently saying how, yeah, he's a part of Restore Britain, but that's not a political party, and that Rupert Lowe is actually doing more now, um, not being tied down, as it were, I suppose, to a political party. So maybe we need to abolish political parties, and everyone has to be an independent sort of thing and have nothing to bring to it. I don't know. That might be a bit too far. Rupert Lowe, I hope the farming community is enjoying a proper drink tonight. This was 17 hours ago. Um, this is their victory, and after the 12 months they've had, they deserve it. I think it's actually been more than 12 months, but yeah, I completely agree. But I don't think it's a victory. I think it's just a small part of the battle. The war is yet to be won because the inheritance tax is still there. Prices are rising. A lot of these small farms, as we're calling them, will soon be over that threshold. Um, they're saying it's a £5 million threshold. That's only if you're married. So even worse, if your partner has died or whatever, and you're a single farmer, you're having to do double the work to try and keep a farm going, you then have to pay more tax, not less. It just seems, yeah, it hasn't really been thought through properly, is it? Yeah. So we should ban non-stun slaughter. Yeah, I agree. Who wouldn't agree with that? Because that's just animal cruelty. If you're not going to stun the animal properly, that's animal cruelty. That degrades your welfare. We should ban halal slaughter and we should ban kosher slaughter. Yeah, we have no need for it in the UK. We have absolutely no need for these slaughter tactics at all. I completely agree with Rupert Lowe on that. Let's just ban it. It just makes more sense. We have the highest food standards. We have the highest welfare for animals in standards in the whole of the world. Let's keep it going. Let's not relax now because someone has feelings or someone's ideology might be hurt. No. Our standards, our principles must be upheld. Otherwise, we're just going to end up like a third world country. Um, More Islamist extremists found guilty. One even recently lived in Great Yarmouth. These savages are the greatest threat to our way of life and must be treated as such. I totally agree. The more I look into it, the more news I consume, the more information I get. I'm quite open to hearing other sides, but I don't hear anything. I heard a comment the other day. Not all Muslims are terrorists. Completely agree. But it's funny how the majority of terrorists these days are Muslims. So in that case, that's where the issue lies. You can't keep increasing the Muslim population without increasing the number of terrorists we have in the country. That is a simple fact of how that works. That's maths, basic. And I think things will get worse unless we stop it. So yeah, this is about hospitality. So more MPs need to start urgently pushing on the business rates fiasco because hospitality venues are facing an apocalypse. It's a bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath. It needs to change now, not months down the line. After owners are put in through hell, a rethink is urgently required. I completely agree, and you have to see how Rachel Reeves has completely destroyed the confidence in spending. Um, it's 30% down at Christmas. We've got people not going out because they can't afford it. We've got taxes going up through the roof. It doesn't work, and then the business rates and the minimum wage all going up, and the national insurance going, being taxed more. Businesses have to pay national insurance on top of your wage. It doesn't work. Uh, they were already hit or miss whether a pub would make money. Now it's a certainty that being in the pub industry is not a good idea financially. It doesn't make sense. Financially, running a pub business or running a hotel, if you haven't got immigrants, actually doesn't make sense as an independent as well. I mean, if you're maybe like a big brewery or something like that, it could do, but no, let's face it, running a pub company just doesn't work. Yeah, the next U-turn simply has to be business rates. I just don't see how we can't make these changes now. We need to as a country because it doesn't work. Businesses are going under faster than they're being started. Investment and people with money are actually leaving the country, which should be really worrying for people that don't have money because that money has left the country. And then you say, oh, they haven't, and then yeah, they're leaving the country. They've left. It's not. You're not going to have to stop it now. they've gone basically. Trying to get them back is going to be a lot harder than if they'd have stayed in the first place. So the Labour government has done damage now for decades. It's absolutely just a nightmare. If you're if you think that money should be spread around from these billionaires and everything, you've got to realize that a billionaire takes risks to get to that point. If you were to be given that money, then the value of money would be just go down. It doesn't work like that. You've got to go out there and you've got to work for yourself. So I've talked about this before. Rupert Lowe, I hear from an increasing number of NH staff who are absolutely exasperated with a certain foreign staff underqualified and very often unable to speak English to the required standard. They feel unable to raise concerns and with woke hospital leadership. This is a scandal. Of course, the foreign professionals who are exceptional medics and contribute to the hospitals, they should be welcome, but it is abundantly clear that we have employed thousands and thousands of individuals that do not meet the required standards, especially when their own medics struggle to get work and British youngsters are unable to study medicine because of outdated caps on medical school places. The system is broken, absolutely, entirely, comprehensively broken. NH staff morale is at rock bottom, and it certainly does not help that they have to carry foreign staff who should not be working in our hospitals. It is not racist, it is a fact. Very true. And yeah, so when a foreign doctor or medic or whatever comes into the NHS, they have not undergone, they've not gone through the same training as an NHS doctor or a British doctor. They have their training from back home, and then they will come to the NHS and they will take a test which is at a lower standard as what we have in the UK. That's just their medical part, and then their English doesn't actually matter because as long as they can get through the meeting a little bit, they've got a job. They are handed a job, and oh, you'll improve. Your English will get better, and da 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 da. Because you've got this woke leadership, and they're not strong business-minded people. That's what you've got to realize. There's a difference between someone who runs a business has to rely on the fact that they, at the end of the month, they have to pay payroll. They have to have a certain amount of money in the bank just for payroll, and then they've got the bills on top as well. And with the NHS, it's just a complete, oh yeah, we can afford, we can do this, we'll do that, da, 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 da. Money flowing through the system, and they're using these underqualified foreign staff as a basis of slave labor because they're basically getting them in and they're basically flooding the market with lower qualified staff, paying them less to have more people. That is slave labor. That is the definition of slave labor. And that is the difference between sort of your more conservative and your like reform now parties where they want an equal wage and they want everything good, where Labour want to use slave labor basically. They're using foreign labor as slave labor. That's how that works. You've got to understand that the more people we have in the country that are less qualified that are applying for the same jobs brings the wage down. And that's why they are forcing the national wage up instead of having more people on a higher wage because businesses can afford to pay them more. They are forcing that national wage up, which is then causing us more problems. The national minimum wage should be automatically going up because businesses have that financial ability to increase that minimum wage. They don't. They don't at the moment because they are taxed and taxed and taxed. Most business owners want to pay their staff or their good staff. They want to keep their good staff and they want to pay them more to keep them. But they physically cannot keep paying more and more and more when they're paying more and more on tax as well. And that's a knock-on effect because the products they're also buying to sell, they're also paying more tax on. The business they've got, they're paying more tax on. Energy bills have gone through the roof to the point where it doesn't really make sense to even open the business unless you're going to do a certain amount of sales per day, because the energy bills alone, it used to be labor that was like your wage bill. It used to be like the biggest bill. Now it's your energy bill is getting up there as well with part of your biggest bill. So you've got, and that's before you buy your stock in, and then you've got to sell that, pay all your energy bill, pay your labor, pay all your taxes before you even break even, let alone try making a bit of a profit or taking out money from the business to pay yourself. Um, Businesses just don't work, and we need change. Anyway, that'll do for now. As I said, I'm on X, so please drop me a follow. Um, if you're not following Rupert Lowe, then give him a follow as well. He is absolutely brilliant. I don't think anyone can disagree with what he's saying at the minute. And if you do, drop me a comment below. If you agree with me, drop me a comment below. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, all that lovely, beautiful stuff. I'd like to get my subscriber count up a bit more. I'd like to get my views up a bit more. So please help me out, guys, and let me know what you think. Thanks very much for watching.